Hello GAWD, this is William Ash, and in this video I'm going to do diffuse texture painting. So we've already baked normals and we already have our UVs done, so all we need to do to get texture painting is add a diffuse texture image and attach it to our shader and then start texture painting. So to do all that setup, I'm going to go into compositing view, and down here I'm going to create a new diffuse image, and I'm going to call it 4096 by 4096, nice 4K texture, and then press OK. And I'm going to save as an image out to here. I'm going to click Save. There we go. Now, to hook it up to my shader so that I can start doing texture painting, I'm going to go Add Texture, Image Texture, and then connect this to this. And then here, select Diffuse. And if I've done that all that work correctly, in my default window, if I switch to texture paint and go to slots, I should now have a normal slot and a diffuse slot. Even better, if I switch this over to texture, I should be able to see what texture I'm coloring by selecting one or the other. So I'm going to go to diffuse, and we're going to paint this first. So just I'm going to pop back to compositing and just explain a little more. So this here, the normals, gives us that bumpiness on the model. Okay, and this one is the diffuse. It's going to give us the color. So right now it's all black and we can't see anything, which is something we got to fix. So let's go back to default. And the first thing I want to do is grab the colors from my source. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to get a palette started. So I'm going to hit new, and I'm going to name this Squirtle. And this is an optional thing, but it's nice because you can keep your colors for later. And if I turn this into a painting image, just by changing that to paint, now I can hold S and hover and sample colors. So I'm just going to hover over this face and click, and there's my skin color. Hover over the shell, click, there's the back shell. Hover over and click, there's the front shell. And then I need to get the tongue color, so I'm going to go to front view image, and I'm going to grab the tongue color. Okay, and that in combination with a white and then a black, and I should have all the colors I need for my Squirtle. So I'm going to switch to fill mode, and I'm going to switch this to my diffuse color. So this is my black map. I'm going to change this to a paint window, and now that this is set to fill, I should be able to click here, change this to 100, and click, and it all turns blue. Okay. Now I'm going to crank up the preview on my thing here and make that visible so I can see what I'm painting. And if I go into texture face selection masking, you can see how I can now mask. Okay, so I crank that up so I can get that curve. It just helps me a little bit, and then I'm gonna try to paint these things. So I'm gonna keep the vertex masking on, and that's this checkbox, and you'll see what happened. There we go. Okay, I just need to click here again. There we go. I don't know what I clicked. I think I clicked here, maybe. Yeah, I went on a separate layer. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to get to painting. So turn on face masking, and I'm going to paint the yellow shell first. I've done this probably 4 times because I keep messing up the texture file. So I've gotten kind of a system down here. So first I'm going to paint the yellow, and I'm just selecting roughly where that happened. And having that modifier cranked up really adds that curve, and it lets me know, okay, these are what needs to be yellow, these what needs to be white. So if you notice on Squirtle, if I go to the back view image, it has this white accent color. So that is going to go around the legs. So like I already selected these. Now I'm deselecting them by holding Shift and clicking again. This is the part that needs to be yellow. I'm going to have a little bit of that white accent color around the leg. Probably there. I might actually not paint that whole section, but I'll just touch up the edge later. So that will be white and that'll be orange. Yeah. And then I'm going to go and press C to get a little bit of a multi-selection action, and I'm just going to fill in that middle. You'll have to select away with the right click before you turn on C again. And you can always just click them one at a time. So that is at least reliable. I'm going to switch to my shell color and just drop it in. There we go. Now I'm going to do the white color. So I'm just going to, and I'm going to fix these edges later with smearing. So I'm not being that picky here. Selecting around what I think will be white. And the white kind of accent will go probably into what will eventually be the orangey shell color. But because that's the way this works, I'm just over selecting into that orange color so that I will eventually be able to clean up that and make it look real good. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to change to white and just click, block it in, looking cool. Oh, there we go. Now I got the accent color. Now I just have to work on the brown. So I'm going to select all of this plus this because I'm going to, well, actually I'll smear it later. So I'll just go here. And you'll see what I mean by smearing in a second. It's how I like to do edges. Oh. I'll be done soon. I'll be done soon, Mr. Sylvan. Okay. All right. So now that I got that base color blocked in, now I'm going to show you how I get these edges quite right. So I'm going to go to smear, and I'm going to crank this value up to 100. And now I'm going to turn off the masking. We're going to live dangerously here. And I'm just going to grab this and drag. And what this does is it just lets me drag color where I want it to go, and I'm pushing the color on my Squirtle, and if I start to pick up too much white, I just go back and I grab that orange color again and I just start dragging it. Get a bigger brush if you find it's not behaving the way you want. Go. When you start getting big chunks of that color in, it just knows what to do. And just grab it. You have to be a little careful when you have that face selection off because now it just does whatever it wants. And oh, by the way, let's turn on X symmetry. Now if I'm done painting one side of the shell, the other side should wake up. Although now my computer's slowing down, so I bet you that symmetry. Just, I mean, think about it. You're painting two sides at once, so your computer is doing twice the work to organize your painting into your UVs and applying it. Okay. What's the point of having a symmetrical thing if you don't use your symmetry? There is no point. That's the answer to that question. Okay, let's go here. I'm just going to drag. And where you click is where it samples, and it just starts from there, and you'll get used to smearing. I love this paint tool. It's like my favorite. It's really good for edges. Now let's see what it looks like if we now turn down the modifier. You see? It just kind of, doing it that way I find is just helpful. It just helps it look nicer. Now that I've turned down to my original geometry, then I know that, okay, there's even more adjusting I got to make now. Here. You notice how it's not dragging, or it's dragging the blue. I'm just trying my best to not drag anything with that blue color, and that, or that white color. And then I'll just, this looks like I can drag it down, smear that edge. That, beautiful. There we go. And that looks a bit awful, so I'll just bring that in. And of course, that kind of thing will happen when you play with your modifier, so that's why you want to, I liked having it bumped out because it kind of helps. Okay, so the shell looks a little dark, honestly. So I'm just going to add a little bit of a lighter color to it, probably clicking here and just brightening it up. And I'm just going to, on the high spots, just add a little more of this lighter color. And this is just making lemonade out of lemons. You know, I'm just using that to highlight manually. And that looks a little better. Just spots you think would just kind of be a little bit brighter. Just brightening up now. And that just is nice. Nice little bit of shading action there. Okay, now for this darker, on the back, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make the color a little darker, and I'm just going to go in there and try to accentuate the where the shell splits open. Just go even darker. Since I have that set to mix at a lower than 100%, it's just barely doing that. Okay, so now for the front action, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to my basic color and I'm just going to bring it down. And I'm just going to even darker action here. Just so that we can kind of create what is happening in our cartoon. Okay. Now for the tail, I need to do the same thing. I'm going to go here. I'm just going to drop it down, and I'll try to follow the curve. And then because that looks really fake, I'm just going to go in with my smear tool and turn it down quite a bit and just click rapidly and drag it over to the lighter blue color. What that does is just softens that edge and creates some irregularity in that edge there. And looks like I need even more, so big sweeping motions and just kind of pulling some of that color out. And then I'm just gonna smooth it like this. And there's no wrong ways or right ways to do this, really, or wrong ways. You just trying to do the best you can. And what all this does is it just creates a look, which is cool. All right. So now I'm going to do the accent on the eyes. So I'm just going to come in and just go back to my texture draw and just right there on the eyes. And then I'm going to go right into the nose and I'm going to go back to my smear. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. Hopefully this is the last time I try to do the diffuse video because I have been at it. Okay, like that. And I don't really like how that looks a little bit dark. I don't know if I just bring it in some of the light and then just kind of lessen the look. Bring more of that bright color into the darker color, thinning out how that looks, and then giving a little smear on the edge. You know, I just think it looks a little too dark. You know what I'm thinking is I'm just going to go probably here and I'm just going to lighten this all the way and just see, what's weird is, oh, there it is. There's my original color. Just coloring it in. Let's try again. Let's darken, bring it down, and go, let's try smear. That's better. See? Okay, now I'm going to have to do these eyes. So for the eyes, I'm going to go back to my selection masking, go to fill, select black, boom. Okay, then I've had practice with this. I go back texture draw, select white. I'm going to pull up my source or my reference image here. There's my Squirtle's eye. So I just need to go very carefully on the edge, and I think I'm going to change to a uniform distribution on this curve. So I'm going to go here to curve. I'm going to switch to that, and that just gives me hard edges like that. So with that in place, I'm just going to draw right along the edge there a little bit of this white color. So okay, just like that. Okay, then I'm gonna add, I'm gonna turn off my mirror modifier, actually, my symmetry, and I'm gonna make the first eye here, and then this one here is gonna be Since they're facing forward, I guess they're going to be pretty evenly spaced. I'll just let's try. That's close enough. And I think the symmetry actually would make sense. So I'm just going to turn back on symmetry. You don't always have to do one thing. There we go. And then I'm just going to add the purple color. So I'm just going to sample the purple. Again, I got my hard brush, hard edge, because it's got a uniform distribution curve. And I'm just going to follow this. And then
checking in.
howdy, howdy.
It looks really good.
Thank you. This is like the 4th time I've tried because I keep messing up my texture file.
Oh no.
And it's funny because like I keep like experimenting with like different like techniques for like creating these texture files, and it's like every time I try something new, it fails.
Yeah.
And then like the next step, it always gets ruined. So I like having to redo it.
Oh no.
Okay, here I am. Almost done. Okay, now if you have eyes like me, you're probably like, yeah, dude, but what about that hard edge there? And you're right. I'm going to now select this blue area now, and then I'm going to try to smooth that edge because that looks really bad. And just smoothing it vertically. And then right here, I'm actually going to just...
What do you do for attendance?
I do attendance.
Okay, I'm gonna be using the bathroom. Bye.
Yeah, I know you're here. I kind of pay attention to people walking in the door.
Okay.
It's like how I used to do attendance. Just like me paying a lot of attention to a bunch of random little things going on. So I'll hopefully have my printer figured out soon. And okay, so I'm getting close to what I want on this eye, and I'm really happy with it. Oh. Had to turn off the mask. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, and then I gotta fix that edge here again, so I'm just gonna select her on the outside, and then you know, I could get really picky, but I am just so tired of this project at this point. I am just gonna call this diffuse color map done, okay? Because I don't want to mess it up anymore. I don't want to mess this up. So that is texture painting, and what I've created, ew, that looks like a problem. I gotta fix that. Sorry, I thought I was done. I'm not. Black. Ew. Just go like that. And then I'm gonna go to blue, and I'm just gonna go. There we go. There we go. And just, there we go. Sometimes you just gotta live dangerously, you know, take off that mask and just start working things. Sometimes these tools won't work, and you just have to change your camera angle a little bit. And I don't like that fuzzy line, so I'm just like deciding how sharp I want it to be. Looks good enough. All right, so I'm now going to save this image because I don't want to ruin it. So I'm going to go down here where I have that asterisk, and now I'm going to say Save Image. And that is my diffuse texture. So at this point, we have the two essential maps for any kind of game asset you create. We have color and then normals. The normals add a little extra detail to it, and then the color gives you that pop of color. What I need to do next with this model is think if there's any kind of reflectivity that I need to add. So I'm just going to save that. That's it for diffuse. So I'm going to File, Save As. I'm going to call this Diffuse Painting Done. Save As. And then an image, Save As Image. It's in the Squirtle folder. Okay, so, actually, we forgot the tongue. Oh, got to get the tongue. Let me show you how to do the tongue real fast before I end the video. Right here, it's the paint image, right? That's my tongue. I select here, which is my pink color for the tongue. I then make my brush bigger, and I go like this. And File, Save Image. And there we go. File, Save Image. So that's it for diffuse texturing. So that's how you use it in Blender. You have to set up the image for texture painting, and then you work in the UV window and the 3D view using your brushes to add just color. Okay. So in this next video, I want to just try playing with reflectivity, and then I think we're done. So thank you for watching so far, and if you're watching this, you're awesome. Thank you.